Hi there and welcome to a new video. In this one I want to show you how I handle collisions in my games. And actually for this specific video I'm going to be using a Unity example that I'm creating myself because I'm basically creating this RPG game. It is not yet finished, it still lacks lots of things, but well, I am creating here let's say an action RPG game or something like that. And well, I've actually had to manage lots of collisions over here, and these concepts can directly apply with Godot using collision layers and collision masks, okay? Because they do work quite similarly in both Unity and Godot. Because for example, what we have over here is different types of collisions handled differently. So for example, here we have the enemies themselves that with the obstacles, okay, with the tile map itself, they do collide, okay? For example, here this kind of wizard cannot pass through these obstacles over here, but I can trespass him, for example, as you can see. And also if in this case I only have two enemies, but for example the enemies there, you can see that indeed they can like trespass themselves, okay? So how did I manage to actually be able, okay, with the obstacles do not trespass them, but with other enemies do trespass them. The same thing with the player, do trespass enemies but do not trespass obstacles. And basically I had to do it because the game was like a little bit more advanced of what I have over here. Because it's just a pretty simple 2D endless runner game, so the collision detection is not that complex for me to actually take advantage of collision layers and masks, okay? Because here actually mostly anything works quite simply. I don't want to have more complex behaviors that, okay, the ground does something and the vehicles does other thing. No, I just have different types of bodies and that's all. Because well, here the static body behaves as exactly that, a static body, as a ground that won't allow me to pass through it. But for example, if I grab here the road and change the type, okay, where is that button? Oh well, actually I believe that I will have to do it directly in the root scene. So if I change this type to be an area 2D, okay, then the player will directly like trespass it. It will not trespass it because the position is being clamped, okay? But if not, it would directly trespass it. So let me quickly show you that. Over here, position.clamp. So right now, the player will just pass through it because there is a different type of collider, okay? Which would be a trigger in Unity, basically. But as you can see, the concepts are quite similar. So basically here in Godot, what you have are collision layers and masks, okay? So basically collision layers is the current layer that the player is seeing, or the object is seeing, and the mask is the collisions with which this is going to be checking collisions. You can go to project settings, and you can go to physics 2D, and sorry, no, not here, okay, to layer names, to the physics, and here you can name your different layers. I know, player, enemy, coin, ground, okay? And for example with this, or even a vehicle, so in this case I'm on the road or the ground, so this would be, I can press on this dot so that I can make this a little bit easier. This is not inside of the player, this is not the player, this is the ground, and I want the ground to be checking collisions with the player and the enemy, for example. So it will no longer detect any kind of collisions with the coin, ground, and vehicle. And then you do this exactly with the other objects. Vehicle, okay, you go here to collision, okay, this is in this case a vehicle, okay, and vehicles, for example, should not collide with other vehicles. Probably they should collide with ground, they should not collide with coins, but they should with the player and the enemy, for example. And also another thing that maybe you want to do is, okay, let's say that you have one player on the left and one player on the right, and both players like create vehicles, they shoot vehicles at each other, which would be quite crazy, but let me explain you this. Then through code you would be able, okay, to say if the vehicle has been shot or created by the player, then as that is a vehicle that wants to hurt the enemy, it should not collide with the player. So you disable this collision mask in code. And on the other hand, if it was the enemy that shot the vehicle, or for example a bullet, well, then do not collide with the enemy, only look for collisions with the player. So as you can see, the concept is quite simple to apply. A lot of people, I believe, that don't use it like this wrong, but don't use it for this specific purpose. they use it to basically detect collisions with specific objects. So for example, in this specific game, you can collide with lots of things, like the player can collide with the road, with the coin, with the vehicle. So indeed there are lots of things, and the way in which this is handled is basically with groups. Okay, the player is in a player group, so whenever I want to detect the collision with it, I just check if the body is in that group. But a lot of people, what we do is, okay, on vehicle body entered, for example, I'm sure that the vehicle, okay, can only collide, for example, with the player. So it must be the player. So no matter with what object it is colliding with, it will always be a player. And therefore, I don't have to check here anything, and I can directly interact with the body without checking if it is in certain group. But well, that is something that I will actually leave for a specific video, because the topic is a little bit bigger than that. But so I believe that the main usage of this is basically this one, or it's actually the way in which you can take the most advantage of. And now that you understand this in Go, you can quite easily transfer this same knowledge to Unity or any other game engine. In Unity, you don't have, I believe, the exact same thing like collision layers and collision masks. What you have are basically layers. So, for example, here the player is in the layer, is in the player layer. Okay, a little bit complicated. And the enemy is in its corresponding enemy layer. And the cool thing here is that you have something quite similar to Go. So you basically go to edit, project settings in this case, and in Physics 2D you have this collision matrix or something like that. And quite similarly to how you handle collision layers and masking Go, you determine which layers can collide with different ones. And by the way, for example, I have player weapons and enemy weapons. Why is this? Because both the player and the enemies share the same weapons. There are some shooter enemies and some base enemies, as I named them. But the player has both this short range attack, as you can see, okay, and it also has this longer range attack. Okay, so the player has the exact same two types of attacks. So the problem was that sometimes maybe there could happen a collision between the knife, okay, of the player with the player itself, or with the enemy itself, with other enemies, for example, and the health of those enemies that had hit a knife from an enemy would still be decrease their health, and that wouldn't be correct. And of course, there could be some extra logic that could be created to detect, okay, is this knife colliding with a player or with an enemy, and based on that do X or Y, but that's not expandable in the longer term. So on the other hand, using this collision matrix, it is much easier to set this up. For example, here in the enemy, in the base, okay, in this case, they are all in the default layer by default. But what I have here is a specific script that I select the character type, okay, and based on this, well, it changes the layer basically. Now if I play, okay, you will actually be able to see this a little bit better. So let me pause the game, and I will go here to the base of the player, as you can see, and this is inside of player weapons. The same thing with the well, the shooter, I believe that doesn't change actually its layer. What changes the layer is the projectile. So let me show you this. Okay, so now I have here this projectile from the player, so let me try to click it. This is inside of player weapons because it was shot by the player. This is the vehicle example that I wanted to explain. And then this is the projectile from the enemy, and this is in enemy weapons layer. And well, basically these layers are set up as they should in this collision matrix. So for example, enemy weapons should not collide with each other. If a projectile from an enemy hits another from the same enemy, I don't care. The same thing with player and enemy weapons. If a player knife collides with an enemy's knife, I don't care. But for example, if the time map does collide with an enemy weapon, so basically if it does collide with the projectile, I want to detect that collision and to destroy that projectile, okay? And the same thing with the player weapons. So you can see how everything is quite similar. And this is also used to avoid collisions between the same type of objects. So for example, the player can not collide with more players if I had multiple, or actually the enemy, okay, can't collide with the same enemy, okay? So I avoid some types of collision that I didn't want to. If I enabled this, what would happen is that I believe that enemies would start pushing each other as if they were solid objects. So let me try to do it like this, and as you can see, they are like kind of pushing each other, and I don't like that interaction, okay, because it also can lead to some errors, okay, if I'm moving around, okay. So that's why I basically disabled that functionality, so you can see how much let's say power or control you have over your collisions using this collision matrix in Unity or the collision layers and masks in Godot, okay, but the concept is the exact same one. So let me disable this, because basically what happens over here is that the player does have its own rigid body, okay, and does have their own colliders, but it's not marked as a trigger. A trigger in this case would be quite similar to an area 2D, that basically it trespasses the objects. And the same thing actually with enemies. So by default, these objects should not be trespassing each other's in the enemies, for example. But I managed to do this because collisions between enemies are not being detected, okay? So they are acting as triggers, okay, or as areas 2D that basically they trespass each other. Once again, I show you over here because of this pretty simple checkbox, okay? So well, I hope that now you're going to be able to manage your collisions in Godot, Unity, or any other engine, because they all have, I believe, a pretty similar functionality. And well, the good thing of learning game development fundamentals is exactly this one. You can apply this knowledge, this learning to any single engine that you want to use.
If you're serious about leveling up your Godot skills, check out my course. In less than 6 hours, you'll master Godot fundamentals while building this amazing project. Links in the description. See you there.